Hello and welcome to the Sound Lab podcast interviews unedited. On today's show, we have interviews from Stereo MCs Finn Forster, Nicky, Magnetic Skies and Rachael Sage. So without further ado, let's kick off with our first interview of the show, and it comes from Stereo MCs. They are about to head out on a UK tour and they've got lots of plans for the year ahead. So Stereo MCs, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So you are busy at the moment on the road. How have the shows been going so far?
Really well. Yeah, we've done 6 shows in 7 days, and pretty much all of them have gone down really good. So yeah, feeling good, man. Yeah,
Good, yeah, good. And you've got a fair few dates coming up here in the UK as well. I bet you can't wait to be doing more shows here.
yeah, looking forward to that.
Is there any dates on the tour that you can't wait to go and play?
I don't think about where I'm going. Uh, uh, I find that people, um, you can never tell, really, apart from maybe Glasgow. You can always guarantee that Glasgow is going to be like firing. Um, but you can never tell what a crowd's going to be like. You just have to take it in the moment. So I just focus on my performance.
Mm, yeah, for sure. And with 7 records out in the world, how straightforward was it to put the set list together?
I don't do it. Nick pretty much puts the set list together. I don't know the set list. I don't want to know it. Um, I don't even have a set list in front of me. I just wait for the tune to come up and
Go from there.
yeah, get going. Yeah.
Yeah, has he ever thrown any curveballs at you from maybe one of your early records that maybe you haven't performed for a very long time?
Mm, not really. Maybe occasionally. But we rehearse all the tracks that we're going to play usually. So maybe occasionally he'll chuck one in that we haven't done for a while, but uh, I like surprises anyway.
Mm,
So it's not a problem for me.
yeah, yeah. And with those 7 records out there, is there any tracks that you've not performed live for a very long time that you personally would want to get into a set list at some point?
Yes. Yes, there are. Yeah.
Yeah. Any that come to mind now?
Yeah. The End. I love that track. The End, Two Horse Town. I'd like to
Mm,
perform that again. Yeah, they're two tracks that I can think of. Yeah.
yeah. Fingers crossed at some point. And obviously with this tour lasting until end of January, you've got a couple of shows booked in for next year already. You hoping to be adding more to that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we love playing live. I love being on the road. It's hard, it's hard on the body and you do get tired, but somehow once you get in the swing of it, it's just once you see that stage, it just feels like home. It's a great feeling.
Mm, yeah, that's good. And obviously you've got the shows here in the UK and Europe going on at the moment. Is there anywhere else that you're wanting to get to in the near future and do some more shows?
It'd be nice to go somewhere warm. Uh, I wouldn't mind that.
That's
It'd be
the
nice to
problem
play
with
somewhere
touring, isn't
warm.
it?
Yeah,
It's normally in the colder months you end up touring.
yeah, it's true. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Like I say, it's really down to the crowd. The
Mm,
crowd is the show. If the people are up for it, then you're going to have a good show. So whether it's cold or hot, it don't really matter.
mhm.
It's down to the what's going on inside the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those many years of touring, is there anywhere you've never actually been to before that you probably want to do a show at some point in?
There's loads of places, yeah, yeah. Uh, Not really played much in Asia. We've done a little bit in Africa, but not much. all the different African countries. We haven't been to Nigeria or Kenya or many places, or Morocco, or South America, any of the South American countries. Haven't been to China. There's loads of places we haven't been to. So India, you know, but like I say, just down to a good crowd at the end of the day.
Yeah, wherever they want you, I'm sure you'll want to go and play there. It's obviously been about 14 years, I think, since your last musical release. Where are you at with writing new music? Is there anything on the cards?
Yeah, I'm very busy in the studio at the moment. Uh, Definitely getting some good ideas down. I'm not really sure where they're going to end up, but definitely some material happening.
Nice, that's good to hear. Is there a direction you're thinking of going in? Have you got a kind of a plan in place, or is it simply a case of writing what feels right at the time and seeing where the music takes you?
Yeah, I don't plan it. I don't plan it, and I don't try to force it into any particular direction, which some people would probably say is a mistake. But uh, I just can't work like that. I have to just follow my heart, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and just want to feel. I just want to emotionally connect with the music.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there? I'd like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So, for you, how do tracks normally start off?
There's no normal. There isn't really a normal. Sometimes you just have a groove. You put a groove together, and you get vibes from that.
Mhm.
Other times you have a dream, and you wake up with a something in your head, and you try to express it. So there's no real. Uh, Thankfully, there's no formula. So for for nice music, or what I think is magical music, um, nobody can make a formula for it. It's about being a human being and somehow finding a way to allow creative energy to enter you, uh, and make something happen.
Yeah, and having done a lot of interviews, I find that a lot of artists struggle the most when it comes to the lyrics side of things. What's that like for you that when it comes to the lyrics?
Yeah, it can be a struggle sometimes, but like I say, it's usually because you haven't been really had a good in a clean inspiration for it, and so you're trying to hack something out of it. Sometimes you can do it. You can make something that functions. But the nicest way is when it just materializes of its own accord, magically, uh, and just happens, and you don't really know where it's come from.
Mm.
So I prefer not to look at it as like a big headache. Just try to enjoy the process. And if something ain't working, come back to it later.
Yeah, and how important is the meaning behind the lyrics as well? Because I know some artists like to just cram the words in that fits the music, whereas some there needs to be that meaning there. What's that like for you?
Uh, well, for me, I think you try, uh, you just try to. As soon as I start consciously trying to write about a subject, it loses all its feeling. Uh, I think music can mean something without actually saying it. And then sometimes you write something and you actually say everything that you wanted to say.
Mhm.
But it has the feeling because it was an inspiration. So uh, I kind of say music somehow represents what's going on around you when it's inspired. It inevitably says something about your environment and what you're feeling. Uh, and I think that's important thing to address.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fully agree with that. And you've obviously been releasing music, as I mentioned earlier, since the late 80s, but your biggest success came in the 90s with a couple of top 20 singles with Connected and Step It Up. When you were writing those tracks in particular, did you realize how much of a wave you were going to make and how popular it was going to get? Or was it a kind of a shock to the system when it started to hit the charts around the world?
It was neither, really. Really, it was just about making some tunes that we thought were exciting, and they they weren't particularly. Neither of those tunes were easy to make. I think we experimented with different vocal ideas on both of them, but in the end, the answer was to pretty much just jam it out and for an inspired moment to happen, and then it all came very easily. Uh, and I think we just felt really good about it. We felt that it was like, the music had something about it that was inevitable. It just had a feeling of inevitability about it.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Stereo MCs. Now, we are all over social media, so come and find us at The Soundlab, yes, on all the socials. And you can also check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk. So while you go and find us on all those socials and give us some follows, we're going to play you our next interview from Finn Forster. Had a chat with Finn earlier this year at Reading Festival to talk about new music and more, and he's got a brand new single out now, so this is why we're going to play it to you on this show. So here we go. Finn Forster. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. You're here at Reading Festival. How's your day been? How was your set?
Really, really good. I mean, it's hard to kind of gauge what the turnout's going to be like and stuff, because it's the first time I'm playing Reading. First time playing both festivals, but especially Reading because I'm from up north, and it just exceeded all expectations. It was great fun, great turnout. Really good crowd, so yeah, I can't ask for anything more, really.
Yeah, absolutely. The same again tomorrow.
Yeah, same again tomorrow at Leeds, which I'm super, super excited for, just because it's nearer me. I went there as a teenager and a few years back as well, just to see some bands, and remember thinking this would be amazing to play one day. So it's going to be a real milestone.
Yeah,
it's going to be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been playing a new single of yours, Broken Game. Tell us a bit about the single.
Yeah, thank you very much for playing it, by the way. Came about as sort of the very last release from our new EP, Embers. It came about quite quickly, actually. It was kind of co-written and put together with Chad Mail and Matt Walsh, who did the record with me. But I remember it just kind of, when I was first in the room with Chad on the acoustic guitar, just going through some minor chords, and it kind of came together incredibly quickly, a lot quicker than normal. And I guess that's just what happens sometimes with certain songs, and that was one of them. And then the support on it's been phenomenal. BBC Radio 2 playlist in, a ton of just radio regional play across the board on radio, and it's been really fun to play live as well, and some really big venues this year.
Yeah. Good. And it is off your Embers EP. For those who've not heard it yet, tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so Embers is basically my second EP, the second official EP, and it came out in May time, end of May, and it's kind of the first time I've really had the time now and the creative process that's been long enough for me to really start venturing into me as an artist and my sound and my branding and me sonically. A real step for the first time. I think more and more now I'm leaning into what I consider me, and it's definitely been very well perceived, which I'm really grateful for across the board within radio, within the fans and things, creating new fans from it. So I think for me it's a perfect little stepping stone to take things further now, and as I bring more music out, to head more into basically just turn the dial up now.
Yeah, nice. How are you looking at new music? Have you started?
Yeah, we were so we've done a ton of touring, more touring than I've ever done in my life this year, which has been amazing. But obviously now we're home for a bit. The gigs are kind of got a little bit of gaps in between, so we're using that downtime to, well, I say downtime, it's more uptime again, because I'm back in the room recording and writing. I was here with Matt Walsh, who did the Embers EP with me. He actually plays with me as well, on a guitar and bass. And I was with him all weekend, just kind of getting we're scoping out what we're going to be potentially doing for the next EP, and we're going to definitely have something out song-wise before the end of the year.
Nice, yeah, nice. Do you know what direction you're wanting to go in?
Yeah, I mean, I've always considered myself and my sound, I'm British indie, but then with a massive amount of folk and country influence. So, sonically, I wanting to, head towards the realm of it kind of resonating globally as its own kind of niche bracket in a way that it's kind of, it sounds a lot like country music and folk music that could potentially be from America, but then I'm very clearly a guy from the northeast of England, from Middlesbrough, so it's like storytellings from my upbringing and my background and being up north, and just the honesty of what it was like, and scenarios and situations, and then I guess the influences come into play musically, which are a lot of country, a lot of folk, and a lot of rock, so a nice little mix.
Yeah, nice. And when it comes to writing, how do tracks normally start off for you?
So mainly on my acoustic guitar, I would say. I would just be playing through some chords. Sometimes I'll pick it up and something will come pretty quickly straight away. Other times it's a cross between that and then I'll kind of hum a melody over the top or hum a bit of gibberish. And then other than that, I'll literally, these are the worst kind, by the way, because sometimes if I don't get it down, I'll completely lose it forever. But I'll be in my car, or I'll be literally in the supermarket or something like that, and a melody. If I go into like a bit of a flow state when I'm talking, or when I'm thinking, a melody will kind of sometimes pop in my head. And then if I don't get that idea down in my voice notes, then it's sometimes gone forever.
Once you've kind of got the track written, demoed, how easy do you find it to take it from that demo to a finished track?
It's definitely been, every single time I would say it's been a huge learning process. That I'm kind of, you've got to keep an open mind to it. You've got to just never, in my mind, I'm like never wanting to ever stop evolving and adapting and keeping things interesting. And challenging as well, and you got to love all of it. You can't just love the best and easiest parts of it. You got to love everything as an entire package, whether it becomes really difficult or not. So yeah, I find it kind of challenging at times. It's but I think it's good challenging. I think if something creatively is not kind of making you second guess or making you pretty much go into your own head and think a lot, then it's probably not the right direction you're going in.
Yeah. You've done a lot of touring, Stereophonics for one. Tell us a bit about what it was like on the road with them.
It's been a real year, to be honest. It's been like a simulation almost. I'm still kind of think I'm in a simulation, to be honest. But no, it's been an amazing year with them. Just really, really so grateful to Kelly and the whole band and the whole team, the production crew. Couldn't have asked for a nicer bunch of people to be out on the road with. Just amazing, honestly. Like, it's been really cool to learn from them as well. As an artist up and coming, they've been around for so many years and kept it at the highest possible level. So even long before I met them or toured with them, I always thought to myself, if there was a artist or a band whose career I would like to replicate, hands down, it would be theirs. So it's been amazing to share the road with them this year so much.
And you've got...
Yeah. So I've got this Feeling by the Sea coming up as the next festival. Obviously after Leeds. And then I'm heading to Germany to do Reeperbahn Festival in Hamburg at the end of September. And then we're heading and doing a UK tour in November, which is really sold out. We can't which are amazing. And then we've got London, Bristol, Manchester. Put a second night on for Manchester because that's sold out. London's sold out, Bristol's sold out, but there's still tickets for Middlesbrough, which is my hometown one, which is the biggest one I've done yet so far. And there's still a few tickets for Cardiff as well. So, hitting some places up for the first time ever. Definitely the biggest venues I've ever done on tour. And just really, really grateful to everyone who's bought tickets and really excited.
I can well imagine. And what's 2026 going to hold for you? What's the plan for next year?
Basically, just keep going with the momentum and the work. And this year has exceeded all expectations massively. And I really hope the same for next year. We're putting the work in now to kind of go into the new year, with everything kind of covered and organised and ready to hit the ground running. Basically just dial it up and and just keep going with things really. New music, lots of new music, hopefully lots of more touring, headline shows, hopefully some more festivals, new regions, new places, and hopefully just continue building some new fans. That's what it's all about.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Finn Forster from Reading Festival from earlier this year. Now, if you're listening to us on Spotify, then you'll be pleased to hear we also have a Spotify playlist. It's called Fresh. It brings you 150 brand new up-and-coming artists that we feel like you might just enjoy yourselves. If you want to check that out, head to the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, and click on the Fresh playlist button, or search Fresh by The Sound Lab on Spotify. So while you go and check out our playlist to listen to a little bit later on, we've got our next interview from Nicky. You'll know Nicky from RuPaul's Drag Race and a lot more. He's making waves in the music scene right now, and we had a chat with him all about it. So, Nicky, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Too bad. Thanks so much, and pleasure is all mine. Now, we've been playing a single of yours called How Do I Look? Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
So How Do I Look is the first single of my EP, Apollo Artemis. It's a song that I've always sang when I was a kid, called Flawless by The Ones, that later on George Michael also sampled. And I always wanted to have that piece of history in my own project for like the future generation. So this song is an anthem to self-love and not giving a fuck in a world that is a little too twisted in my own taste.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also a few remixes out there of the track by Guz, Mr. Root,
Yep.
Daniel Distinct. We've had the chance to play as well. What's it like when you get these producers, DJs, taking your track and creating their own versions of it? And how do they come across to you?
I mean, it's some of my favorite moments in music because I grew up in the clubs. I grew up on the dance floor. This is where, even as a drag artist, I shaped my performance print the way that I perform. So, like, of course, making sure that my music is going to be not just listened on the radio, but actually people will be sweating on it on the dance floor is what is the most meaningful. So knowing that there's like amazing, amazing and talented producers are going to go one or two or 10 step further with the production makes me really happy and excited.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, that is off your EP, Apollo Artemis. Tell us a bit about the EP release.
I mean, I'm very happy. I've always wanted to be able to put a project out there. The album came out September 5th, and it is an homage to pop in general. So you really have like a large umbrella of the kind of pop genre that I explore, which is why I wanted to call the EP Apollo Artemis, because you have, the very sunny side with like, pool party, fun, disco-y, all the way to like really dark, very late in Vauxhall kind of night, electro music. So I really wanted to make sure that I'm exploring all of that.
Good. And the sound that you made with the EP, is it the sound you wanted, or was it kind of just how it turned out as you were writing and recording it?
I definitely think that I can say yes to both of these. It's definitely a sound that I wanted, and things have happened as I was writing it. But as a musician, I really love to explore all kind of genre. Pop is just maybe the first one that I'm tapping in.
Nice. Yeah. And I believe there's an album on the way, hopefully coming next year in 2026. How's that going to contrast in sound to this EP?
Well, I think it's going to be the continuity of it. So I will do like a deluxe version. So I'm just going to explore even more into the theme that I was exploring, with maybe some slightly different genre, or go even further in the electro. But long story short, we will be dancing a lot on it for sure.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good to me. And I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
So great question. Some people will be like maybe playing with an instrument and start finding a top line. I usually like to go in the studio with the producer, come up with the beginning of a track, and once I have the beat, this is when I'm gonna be starting to jam and write lyrics, try to find top lines, and this is really how I can visualize the finished product before I even started.
Yeah, good. And obviously, when I talk to a lot of artists, they struggle combining lyrics and the melodies and music together. What's that process like for you?
As a control freak, it is very hard because there is never someone in the room or in your head that's gonna say, "Yep, that's the right track. Just keep going." So you just have to trust your guts, and the more you do it, the more it becomes easier. But it just never stops. You could continue working on a track forever. So the hardest part for me is to just let go at some point and know that now it's done. You can do more. But I love doing it. It's like the best to me. It's like the best video game ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you burst onto our scenes back in 2020 by deciding to appear on RuPaul's Drag Race. Tell us a bit about what it was like to be on there and what's happened to you since, because things seem to have blown up for you.
Yeah, thank you. So I was the first French contestant on the season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and it was not as much as the fairy tale that I thought it would become, because I was competing in another language. It was really tough. Then COVID happened, but I'm really thankful because I was able to hustle my way through since the show, and being able to like build a fan base, and then this fan base has followed me wherever I wanted to go. Now I end up being the host of the French franchise, and feel very blessed, and now I'm just realizing the dream that I've always wanted, which was to make music. So far so good.
Yeah. So obviously, when you wanted to do music originally, and I assume that was before RuPaul's
Yeah.
Drag Race, what made you kind of want to go on TV and now host TV shows like like the French version of Drag Race, and you've done Eurovision as well?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. To be fair, I never had like the TV dream or wanting to become like a TV personality, but I knew that in order to be introduced to the world and to be introduced to the fan base and to make sure that I have one foot in, was to maybe do this competition, and drag has always been like my second biggest passion. And growing up in another country, watching all these girls like compete and then become these superstars, of course, I wanted a piece of that cake as well. So I wanted to try and test myself. And then the other opportunities about TV just happened to fall on my lap, and I never say no to a challenge, and it's fun. I like doing it. But I only do things that really excites me. Drag is something that I love. Eurovision was about music, and obviously I wanted to do it. And I would even go further. I would love to even represent France for Eurovision at some point. So we'll see. I like to put stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what made you get into drag in the first place?
That's it. Yeah, drag was a way at Pride 2009 was a way to kind of like look under the bed and reappropriate some terms that people have been throwing at me when I was a kid. Like I was too feminine, I was the F word, I was too gay. We didn't know if I was a boy or a girl. And so one day at Pride in Paris, I decided, you know what, since I'm so feminine and I'm so much like a girl, why am I just try to put on a dress and heels? And once I done that, I shredded all the negativity off of these terms and made them, my superpower. And I looked pretty damn good. So I was like, you know what, might as well just continue to try to explore that. And it was a way for me without being able to have the income to develop a music career. It was a way for me to perform on stage, to try out aesthetic and performances. It was lip syncing other people's music, but it was giving me time and find my rhythm in order to know what point of view I will have once I will have the mic to actually sing words.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we're both part of the LGBTQ community. Now that you're in the music world and the public domain, do you feel a responsibility to represent the community?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that this, mostly as a drag performer, I think that this is always our number one priority and badge of honor is to be able to represent the best of our abilities, a community that is very often targeted. Um, another pressure that I have is as a queer artist, you really just have no other choice to be excellent at what you're doing. And so, as a drag artist making music that is queer, I just know that if whenever I have to take the mic, I have to do my homework, and then I have to make sure that I'm bringing my A game. But I've been ready, so bring it on.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And people will want to see you doing some shows. What's your plan for shows for this year and into next year?
So I just finished the Drag Race France tour that I was doing for like 2.5 months. I really wanted to wait for the audience to get more familiar with the EP and make sure that they really love the project to then go on the solo tour. Because again, drag artists sometimes have a tendency to make music, but it's more of like, like the niche diss track. It's very like for the gay bars and only stays in gay bars. And I love that, and I'm so happy that this genre exists. I don't believe that this is what I'm doing. I really want to do pop music that people love, and then happen to be sang by a drag queen, and not a drag queen that happened to have a song. And so for that, I wanted to wait for people to really get the groove of what the songs are about, and then go on a solo tour and showcase my visual vision for it. But that was a very long answer to say that yes, I will be touring with that album next year.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Nicky Doll. Now, if you're loving today's interviews, then you can hear them once again in an edited form on our international radio show. It brings you all of today's interviews in an edited, shortened form, alongside a load of new music and a live session too. Lasts for 2 hours, yes, and it broadcasts all around the world. And if you want to check that out, head to the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, and click International Radio Show. So while you check that out, we've got our next interview from Magnetic Skies. They've been busy releasing new music, and we had a chat with them all about it. So, Magnetic Skies, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Jim. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks so much. So after this interview, we'll be playing a single of yours called Everything's All Right. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
The single is probably the most upbeat track on the album, the most positive, sort of trying to grab a glimpse of positivity in a sort of fractured and fragmented world. Yeah.
Nice. And that is off your new record, Fragments. For those who've not had a chance to listen to the records yet, tell us a bit about the release.
It's our second album, and it's really, in terms of lyrical content, it's really a collection of fragmented viewpoints about my perception of the world, I suppose, over the last 3 or 4 years. It's very synth heavy. It's got some 80s influence on there, but it's also very contemporary at the same time.
Nice. And the sound that you made with the record, is it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of just how it turned out as you were writing and recording it?
No, it was very much a concept album. So lyrically, I knew what I wanted to cover, and sonically, I knew what I wanted to do, which was to get further. The first album was a really quite a dense production, but we wanted to have a more sparse and clean sound on this album. And so I produced it, co-produced it with a guy called Rob Aubrey, and we were totally in control of the creative process. So very happy, yeah.
Good. And I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto this record. What happens to those now? Do you consider them again down the line, or is it a case of starting afresh when the time comes?
Yeah, I get asked that quite a lot. No, they get really if they don't make it, I don't really return to them. Very, very rarely. I can't really remember a time I've rejected a song and then gone back to it. But yeah, so I started a lot of songs. I don't know, northward of 50 probably songs to, and then settled on the final 11. Yeah.
Nice. I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
I suppose I think on I had a collection of ideas of content lyrically on this one, but everything sort of started from the music, and then I fitted an idea around the music. So that might have been that could have been anything, a riff or a drum beat or a bass line, whatever it was, just something that seemed to trigger a feeling, an emotion, or an idea. And yeah, I really kind of always start with that the music's got to work first, and then build a song and a lyric around that.
Yeah, and obviously lyrics are a completely different area compared to the music side of things. How easy do you find it to add those lyrics in?
That's the most difficult part. And there's a lot of rewriting over and over lyrically. I always find that the music tends to be when it's right, it tends to come together intuitively, but the lyrics, the written word, I just have to spend a lot more time making sure that I'm happy that the message is the one I'm trying to get over, and without it being too tying listener down too much to a definitive sort of reading of the lyric, I suppose, because I like to leave it a little bit open so that it's flexible and people can find something in their own life from what I'm writing about.
Yeah, and there's a couple of others in the band who perform alongside you. How much influence do they have on the tracks themselves?
They do have a valuable input. So firstly, on every song that I come up with is a very basic sketch, and I straight away play that to Joe, who does the keyboards with me in the band, and if it's got through my filters, quite often it doesn't get through hers. So it goes through various stages before we're sure it's something we want to use. And then if she's into it, then we sit down and we think about what sort of keyboard sounds we're going to use and develop it a bit further. And then it goes to Lennon, who's our fantastic drummer, and normally we pretty much use what he sends in. He likes to listen to something so it's ready to throw, so it's fairly developed and he can throw a first takedown. He very much likes to work on first influence and not rewrite, so which is really good. So there is some editing in the studio, but they've all got a really important, valuable input. Yeah.
That's good. And you've done a couple of shows recently with a couple more to come. How have they been going?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah, really good. They've both been very well attended, and we just had a great time. It's just amazing meeting people and watching people singing singing along your lyrics as you're up there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just a couple more left in the diary at the moment. Are you hoping to be adding some more this year, or are we into next year now?
I think we're into next year. I think Glasgow. We've got Southampton tomorrow and Glasgow next Wednesday, and I think that's probably going to be it for the rest of the year. But we are definitely booking. I believe around April, May time next year. There's going to be another string of dates. Yeah.
Nice. Do you think 2026 is going to be quite busy for you, or just kind of steady?
I'm hoping busy. Yeah, I'm hoping push full steam ahead.
Good, good. Is there anywhere that you want to get to? You hoping to go back to Europe or to the States at any point?
I've just had a message from someone in the States actually saying, "When are you coming over here?" Definitely want to get out to Europe. Want to get into Germany, Sweden, places like that, where we've got little pockets of people who are continuously asking us, "When are you coming over?" And I think the States would be after that, but yeah, absolutely love to get out there.
Yeah, and is there anywhere else in the world that you want to get to at some point?
I haven't thought beyond that at the moment. That's probably enough for the next year.
and I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Magnetic Skies. Now, if you want to check out all of our interviews that we do here at the Sound Lab, then if you head to YouTube, you'll be able to watch them in full, in a video format too. You can also check out YouTube Shorts and TikTok too, where we edit them down into little snippets for you to enjoy. So if you want to find us on YouTube and TikTok, search the Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. Now, while you go and find them to watch those videos a little later on, we've got our final interview from Rachael Sage. She's just released a brand new record after teaming up with the Sequins, and we had a chat with her all about it. So, Rachael Sage, how are you?
I'm great. You're my first chat of the day. It's 9 a.m. here, so thanks for having me.
Good. Hopefully not too long of a day for you ahead.
No, I love a good chit chat, you know.
Yes.
I'm a New Yorker, so it's hard to shut me up.
Good. That's what we like in interviews anyway.
Nice.
Now, we've been playing a single of yours called Belong to You. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
First of all, thank you for supporting. This is my first gospel song that I've ever written, and it really is a song about devotion and gratitude. And, you know, I'm enjoying the different interpretations that I'm hearing that people have of it. So I don't want to get too granular about, you know, the exact origin, but especially as someone who is a cancer survivor, I'm celebrating 6 years in remission now. So I'm just sending a big hug and shout out to anyone going through a difficult journey right now, whether it be physically or emotionally. And these songs of kind of just gratitude and appreciation for every single beautiful day that we have on this planet, they just tend to pour out of me these days. So this is one of them. And right now, when I sing it live, it tends to be centered around friendship and loyalty, and especially friendship and loyalty within my band, The Sequins.
Nice. Yeah, good. You mentioned that this is your first gospel song you wrote. Was
I
that
think so.
intentional? Was that intentional to do, or did it kind of just turn out that way?
It was intentional. You know, when I have that little window at the beginning of the muse, you know, descending upon me, I usually have a little bit of a split second choice. You know, this lyric, this melody can go in so many different directions. So within the shape of the album that I was making at the time, Canopy, I did feel that there was an opportunity, because I'd had a couple of up-tempo tunes. I'd had, you know, Just Enough, which was sort of a groove tune, the title track, very folky. And because of my ADD, I like to mix it up. I get bored of anything being one dynamic. So yeah, it really was inspired also by the piano that I play in at the studio where I made this record. It's a beautiful 1920s Steinway, and I sit down at it and the keys just kind of tell me what to do. But there was also a beautiful Hammond organ in the corner, and I thought, wow, you know, this song can go in a very particular direction that would allow, for instance, Will Wild, our harmonica player, to really get bluesy and gospel with it. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, nice. And that's off your new record, Canopy. So for
It
those
is,
who've
yes.
not had chance to listen to the record yet, tell us a bit about it.
Well, the title track to the album Canopy is basically my mission statement right now and this year, which is all about inclusivity and trying to actually listen to all of the voices in the proverbial room, not just a handful of them, or certainly not just one. So there is some focus on women's voices being heard and other marginalized people, and also just a coming together, a very kind of shouldn't be throwback, but it seems to be perceived that way, a throwback sensibility to the 60s and 70s and, you know, the nonviolence movements. And so there are some songs about that on the album. And just, you know, a lot of different angles on that same theme of inclusivity, togetherness, listening to each other, not canceling one another, and, you know, just trying to kind of cut through the divisiveness and separation that seems to proliferate, especially, driven by our media.
Yeah, no, of course. And I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto this record. What happens to those now? Do you consider them again down the line, or is it a case of starting afresh when the time comes?
First of all, I love that the sunbeam is just pouring through my window now and reminding me what to do with those extra songs. Thank you, God. Um, there are always extra songs, but to be perfectly honest, I've been on the road a lot these last few years. Um, I love touring, so I don't have the kind of plethora of extra songs that I used to perhaps when I was home more and writing every day. Um, but I think of it like curating an art show, and you know that I'm a visual artist as well. So, there are going to be songs that fit and songs that don't. They're all my children. That's okay. Maybe they'll be on the next record. Maybe I'll keep playing a handful of them live and just sort of feeling, where they might fit in the future. But that's kind of how about a third of the songs on this record incubated. Really, some of them are older, just a handful of them, but they didn't feel like they belonged on any other record until now. So it all
Yeah.
works out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a fair few records out there. You seem to release one every couple of years or so. How does this album relate in comparison to your previous ones?
In some ways, I feel like that's not my job to know or to answer versus to creatively, output. But one thing I will say is that this is the first record. It's in effect our band debut because it is under the name Rachel Sage and the Sequins. And the Sequins are my long-standing, semi-rotating band. There are some core members, and boy, I love this. Ah! For those of you who are listening, there's like this incredible beam of light pouring through. I am gonna move. Yes, so I mean, these are people who have played with me for a number of years now. They're also my dear friends, individuals like Kelly Halloran, who's been playing fiddle with me for almost a decade, and we've toured the UK many, many times. My drummer, Andy Mack, will be coming over with me as I get ready to tour with the Overtones, and just a whole variety of musicians who really have been such a part of my sound on record through the years. So having the opportunity to give them their flowers, so to speak, and just really embrace their role in this project has been incredibly gratifying. So that's a
Yeah.
big difference.
And what was the reason behind taking the decision to put the sequins in the title rather than just being the kind of co-performers with you?
Yeah. It was kind of the other way around. I went into this project with the intention of it being a Rachel Sage and the Sequins album. So I do think that informed the arrangement sensibility, even my behavior in a way as a producer in the studio and with my engineer and co-producer, Mikhail Pivovarov. The whole time we were always looking for ways to kind of manifest the themes of the record, to be inclusive and to welcome more ideas from the band. Everybody has certainly worked with me as a band leader for years now, but there is just a slight adjustment, I think, emotionally, psychologically, when you go in together and you're all present the whole time. And that's really more how this record was made. A lot of it was done live. Some of it was overdubbed at my home studio here in the Hudson Valley in New York. But throughout, there was really just this intention to include not only these incredible musicians, but their perspectives as well, and to just be more open, I guess, to all of the ideas in the room, not just mine.
Yeah, nice. You touched on touring, and you've done a few shows already with Toya and Rebecca
Yeah.
Ferguson here in the UK. How were those shows, first of all?
Oh, we just had a beautiful whirlwind week plus. with Toya and Rebecca Ferguson, and they're both just such class acts, such good human beings, very generous, very open, and very warm and welcoming to us. So it was just a treat, and we were sad that it had to end, but we're about to go on tour again with the Overtones in mere days. So I'm getting my act together. I've opened the suitcase to start repacking. Gonna do the laundry after our call. It's exciting.
Yeah, what's it like to be asked by these artists like the Overtones, Rebecca Ferguson, Toya, and that to be on their shows with them?
Well, it's a thrill, of course. Whenever one of these opportunities arises, I look at it not only as a chance to perform for their audiences and, who will hopefully graciously be open to what I'm going to share as well, but it's also an opportunity to watch and listen and learn every night to others who are arguably masters at their craft, certainly extraordinary singers. And yeah, they all just have such a unique vision that inevitably it's kind of like going to a new country. It's that Anthony Bourdain kind of a thing where you're suddenly immersed in someone else's world. You're going to eat what they're going to eat. You're going to see what they're going to see. You're going to hear their music every night. And it does change your DNA in a way. That's certainly been the case when I've toured with people like Howard Jones, Hue and Cry, Judy Collins, whether it's folk, pop, rock, Imelda May. A little bit of them kind of rubs off and stays with you, but on the flip side, it also very much reminds you who you are and encourages you to be all the more that artist because nobody wants to see two of the same people in a row. Everybody goes there wanting to have a joyful and immersive musical experience. And I think they welcome the contrast. And that's been the case so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a couple of dates booked in already for 2026. Are you hoping to have a busy year again?
I am hoping to have a busy year. I'm always hoping my dance card will be semi-full, but I also think it is important to have those, short periods of rest or at least reflection to allow for writing and new work. So I'm building that in, and if I say it to you, it will happen. I'm building that in March. So, if you're out there listening and you'd like me to play a show in your local town, let's not do March. We'll see what happens. I say this every year, and then I end up, playing because it's what I love. But I do think balance is important, and we are, believe it or not, coming up on our 30th anniversary of Empress Records that I founded many years ago now. So I think it would be fun to do some celebratory concerts, including all the different artists who've been on the label, and then also to do some different types of recording and artwork. So we got to allow for that to happen.
Sounds good to me, Rachael. It's been a pleasure having a catch up with you.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to add one little thing. Along this tour, we're going to be supporting the wonderful charity Rainbow Mind. And I hope that folks will check it out. It's just a wonderful organization that supports LGBTQ plus mental health and advocacy. So thank you so much.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Rachael Sage. And that's the end of the show for another week, I am afraid. But don't worry, we will be back next week with more interviews. But if you can't wait until then, social media at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. And you can also check out the website at thesoundlabuk.co.uk. And we will be back same time next week for another episode of Interviews Unedited. Goodbye.